Hi, welcome to my channel. We're going to make this beautiful card using this stamp set from Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. This is Heaven's Gate. It features the gate itself as well as two sentiments. One says, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," and the other one says, "Welcome home." Let's get started. I'm going to be using the cloud stencil to make the clouds on my card. I'm going to be using PanPastels to create the clouds. This is from Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. It is the Sunrise and Sunset set. It comes with these colors: red, orange, yellow, magenta, burnt sienna shade, and red iron oxide, and white. So I covered up the ones that I added to my palette. Those don't come with it, the ones that I covered with my hand. This one is the day and night set. It comes with phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, turquoise violet, green, black, and white. And I'm covering with my hands. The colors do not come in this palette. You also get white with either set when you purchase them from Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. And you also get some tools that you can use to create with. The first one that I showed you was called Sunrise Sunset. The second one is Day and Night. Each comes with 7 colors and palette and tools. And this is a wonderful way to get started with PanPastels. What are PanPastels? They are artist quality pastels like artists would use in a crayon, but they're in a pan formation or pan formula, and they are silky smooth. They remind me of a very expensive eyeshadow, but there's not a lot of dust. So here you see I'm using yellow, and you'll see there's just a little bit of dust left behind on my um, paper towel. I am cleaning my cloud stencil, which is also available through Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. I am cleaning it in between each time when I go to put a different color down. I'm putting down orange right now. You'll see I'm using makeup blender brushes. You can use these if you like, or you can use the tools that are specially made for PanPastels, which are like a sponge, but they're not the same as a sponge. They're more rubbery than a sponge would be, and they're specially made to be used with the PanPastels. I have found that they work very well, but for this technique, I liked the way the blender brushes worked. I liked the way they made my clouds look, and so I'm just using them this time. This is green, and again, I'm going to clean in between each one just so that I don't have any colors blending together. The next color I'm going to use is blue. The cloud stencil is great for making your clouds. Blue Knight Rubber Stamp also has the reverse cloud stencil. And in the future, I will be making some cards using the reverse cloud stencil. I really like it as well. PanPastels are not the same as chalk. Like I said, it just reminds you of a very expensive eyeshadow or foundation powder. You do have to set the finished card. And so what you can do is use hairspray or Krylon spray sealant. Either one works fine. I will most often use hairspray because the Krylon, you have to go outside to spray it, or you have to be in a room with an open window. And I just find that the hairspray works just as well. And so normally that's what I end up using is my hairspray. And I have just I've tried different hairsprays. You would have to just experiment a little bit till you find one that you think is working, well for your results. But I just picked up a small bottle of travel sized hairspray, aerosol, and that's what I've used. All right, so I used blue, I used purple, which is called violet. Now I'm switching over to magenta. And one thing with pan pastels, they don't create a lot of dust. They're not a dirty product to work with. They clean off your hands quite easily. As a matter of fact, a lot easier than ink. You can just go to the sink, wash your hands, and the pan pastel is gone and your hands are clean. Whereas, depending on what kind of ink you use, you might not have that happen when you go to wash your hands. It might take special soap or, a couple showers where you're washing your hair. But with pan pastels, simple, easy. I'm taking this really big brush that I have and I'm just blending the clouds. And it's okay with me that there's lines. I'm not trying to go for the effect where you blend it completely and you completely blend the lines away. There is a colorless blender that is available through Blue Night Rubber Stamps that you can use. So when you're blending a sunset, you want to make it blend smooth without any kind of harsh lines. But for clouds, it's okay. You don't necessarily have to use the colorless blender. It's really your own personal preference. There's a reason I didn't use it. I really wanted you to see the graduation between the clouds, that there are different colors of clouds, rainbow clouds. And there's a reason why I did this, and I'll explain it to you a little bit later in the video. You're probably thinking, what was she thinking creating a, Heaven's Gate with like all these clouds, all these different colors? But what I'm doing right now, I am stamping the image with an archival ink. And then I have this eraser that I purchased off of Amazon. It's just a dry erase eraser. And I use that to apply pressure to my stamp positioning tool to get a nice impression. So I like the way this turned out. I like the impression. Now I'm grabbing a piece of acetate. This is basically a leftover piece of packaging from a stamp set that I received that I'd put into a different storage system and didn't need both sheets of plastic. I've got VersaFine Clair, Nocturne ink, and the magnetic ink handle from Blue Night Rubber Stamps. It's a fantastic tool. If you've ever dropped your ink pad before when you're working on a card, you will really, really appreciate this tool because it holds the ink pad base to the magnetic wooden block and then it gives you a better grip. So it's just genius. Anyways, I'm using the acetate to make sure that my sentiment lines up straight because it's red rubber stamp. You can't see through it like you can through photopolymer, but the acetate helps you to figure out where to put your stamp. Okay, there was a little bit of ink left. I'm just going to put some more ink on there and just stamp it twice. I'm not pressing really hard. You don't need to do that with red rubber stamps. They're definitely deeply etched and deep in lots of detail. And this is how you can curve a straight sentiment. So this says, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," which is a verse from the Bible. And I wanted it to arch over the top of the gates. And so what I did was I just slightly curved it on my stamp positioning tool. Now, it won't stay like that the whole won't stay like that for hours and hours. You have to um, you know, figure out where you want it and then stamp it and then it'll go back to its regular shape. But it works. It works well enough. You can see that my sentiment has a slight curve to it. So I just wanted to show you that trick. Just go ahead and slightly curve it and then press on it on the lid of the stamp positioning tool, and then you'll be able to have a slightly curved sentiment. I'm just trimming down my sentiment. I have some beautiful holographic mirror cardstock that I'm putting behind the card panel because I think that it just looks really bright, and that's the hairspray that I use to set my pan pastels. I'm also going to use a die so that I can gut this holographic paper so that I will have some leftover paper instead of using it all. Just a way to save so that you can use that paper again on another project or to cut out a sentiment. Um, but yeah, the reason why I went with the rainbow was because I've read several books of people who have had near-death experiences where they have actually like died on the operating table or died and then spent time in heaven and came back, and they talk about their experience while they were in heaven. I believe in God. Jesus is my savior. I believe that the only way to heaven is to, give your life to Christ and to live your life as Christ lived his as best that you can while you're on earth so that others see Christ in you. But one of the things that these folks have said in their testimonials is that there's so many different beautiful colors in heaven, colors that we've never even seen before, colors that they can't even describe in words. So that's what inspired me to create this card because I think about that. I think about how beautiful it's going to be and how vibrant it's going to be when we get to heaven. I also made a couple other cards with this stamp set. This stamp set is very dear to my heart. And I created this one, which includes me layering 3 different stamp sets. I used the Heaven's Gate, Misty Mountains, and Hot Air Balloon. And I have a post on my blog that you can read about. My blog is thehopefulcrafter.com. If you go to my blog on October 13th, 2020, you can read about how I created this card. And you can also read a little bit more about my story about using the Heaven's Gate, using the clouds that are rainbow colored for my Heaven's Gate card. So you can just learn a little bit more about that. It does have a deeply personal connection for me. I also created this one, which is white embossed on navy blue cardstock. So basically the same stamp set, 3 different ways. And I was going to make this video longer and show you all 3 different ways because I did videotape myself creating this card all 3 different ways, but that would have been a half-hour video, and I'm sure nobody wants to sit through that. But maybe in the future, I can release those videos and you can see how I created those 2 other versions of this fantastic card using this wonderful stamp from Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. Thanks so much for watching my video. If you're not a subscriber, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to ring the bell so that you can get future notifications of my future design team posts for Blue Knight Rubber Stamps, and also so that you can be notified of my giveaway contests because I do have those frequently on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to thumbs up and leave a comment. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a hopeful day. Bye bye.